Minister, what I'd like to ask you about is maybe you could give us an update on discussions that you've had with your counterparts in Northern Ireland in relation to North-South justice issues and the progress made in this period, and are we coming to an understanding of some of the issues that are outstanding there?
Thank Deputy Ó Cuív for his question, indeed for his ongoing work, and I only wish I had counterparts in Northern Ireland, but I don't say that to be facetious. But you'll see during my answer how the absence of an executive does somewhat stymie some levels of engagement. But I am pleased to say, firstly, that there is excellent ongoing cross-border cooperation with counterparts in Northern Ireland in relation to relevant justice matters, and it's important that I state that and state that clearly. This includes cooperation between my own department and the Department of Justice in Northern Ireland on a range of issues, as well as extraordinarily good cooperation between An Garda Síochána and the Police Service of Northern Ireland, the PSNI, and other agencies with their counterparts. The intergovernmental agreement, the IGA, on cooperation on criminal justice is the main formal stream of ongoing joint work. Under the IGA, a senior officials working group oversees cooperation through a number of co-chaired policy advisory groups in a range of criminal justice areas, including forensic science, probation, public protection, victim support and youth justice matters. This group last met last month in March, and it includes senior policymakers from all relevant areas from both jurisdictions. The group progresses criminal justice matters of mutual interest with the aim of achieving more effective cooperation and coordination on criminal justice matters. The IGA also offers a structured mechanism under which ministers from both jurisdictions meet. Unfortunately, with the current lack of an executive, it's not been possible to meet in this format in recent months, but the Senior Officials Working Group continues to meet to progress the work plan as approved by ministers. There is regular North-South cooperation outside of the formal framework of the IGA. For example, in February, officials from my department met with their counterparts in Northern Ireland on international cooperation in criminal matters, including extradition and mutual legal assistance. The Northern Ireland delegation was led by the International Criminal Justice Cooperation Unit and included representatives from international cooperation teams in the PSNI, the Public Prosecution Service of Northern Ireland and the Crown Solicitor's Office. The meeting was also attended by An Garda Síochána, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Chief State Solicitor's Office, and the meeting focused on practical matters of mutual interest and how we can work more closely together. Further, last November, senior officials in my department met their Northern Ireland counterparts to discuss a range of matters, including criminal justice cooperation, and I shall add to it in my next answer.
Minister, as you know, I've been concerned about the delay in the administration of justice in Northern Ireland for some time, and people are waiting up to 9 years for a trial. And they're our citizens. And I think you would agree that that is not justice. But justice delayed is justice denied. And as well as that, there are people spending inordinate time on remand, and when they are out on bail, they have very, very strict bail conditions. Has that issue been raised with the Northern authorities by your officials? And have they also expressed concern about some of the prison conditions? I have raised this issue consistently, and as you know, there are grave concerns. I understand some progress has been made in dealing with the issue of full body searching or strip searching, but even that isn't working satisfactorily at the moment.
I want to thank Deputy Ó Cuív for the accuracy of the record of the House. I will seek specific confirmation on the two issues that he has raised in terms of the most recent engagement that my colleagues in the department have had with their counterparts, and I certainly always believe in all jurisdictions, including obviously jurisdictions in which Irish citizens in Northern Ireland, people having swift access to justice is a very important part of any effective justice system. I personally am engaging with the Secretary of State in Northern Ireland in relation to both his responsibility for security matters in Northern Ireland and mine for security matters here in Ireland. I last spoke to the Secretary of State, I think on the formally, I saw him last night informally at a Good Friday Agreement event, but I last formally spoke to him on the 28th of March, where he updated me on their decision to increase the terror threat level in Northern Ireland. I also spoke to him on the phone in relation to the horrific attack on DCI Caldwell and his life, to offer our support and our solidarity. In addition to that, as the Deputy knows, the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference was established under the Good Friday Agreement to promote bilateral cooperation on matters of mutual interest within the competency of both the UK and Irish governments, and I attended the last such meeting with the Taoiseach in Dublin in Farmley on the 19th of January.
Minister, as you know, the IRC, the Independent Reporting Commission, is an independent commission set up by both the Irish and British government and in the most recent report they spoke about possible elements of a group transition process. Can you tell me how are the discussions going in relation to progressing the recommendations in that report as to how we might end violence completely in Northern Ireland? So you might just give me an update on that, because I think this is an important issue, because we all want to end violence, but it's not a one-way street. It's a complex problem, and I think we need to look at very, very good reports like the Independent Reporting Commission report, which is a very balanced report and one I think worth taking very, very seriously.
Thanks, Leslie Curtis. The fifth report of the Independent Reporting Commission, as Deputy Ó Cuív knows, was brought to Government in December, and overall the IRC have not altered their view that the risks posed to society by the continuing existence of paramilitary groups and structures means that paramilitarism remains a clear and present danger in Northern Ireland. 6 new recommendations are contained in the fifth report, including a further recommendation on the paramilitary group transition, which the Deputy refers to. The Commission recommended that the governments consider appointing an independent person to engage with the groups on transition. The remaining recommendations focus on matters particular to Northern Ireland relating to joined-up collaborative working, organised crime legislation in Northern Ireland, and the need for continued financial support for efforts to tackle paramilitarism. The fifth report of the Commission and its recommendations on possible mechanisms to progress transition and disbandment of all remaining paramilitary groups was considered by the two governments at the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference on the 19th of January in Farmleigh, which I attended, and it was agreed on that occasion that the recommendation would remain on the agenda of the Intergovernmental Conference and will be discussed at the ministerial level at its next meeting, and our officials were asked to consider the matter further in the intervening period. I and my department are absolutely committed to continued constructive engagement with the Commission in respect to this matter and its work in 2023.